Hey guys, Zen here, and today I wanted to discuss and give my thoughts about the newest operator Lion in Rainbow Six Siege. Now, as I'm sure most of you know, Lion is the current wall hacks operator of choice by most players right now, and people have been asking the question, is Lion overpowered? At this point, a vast majority of the community would agree and say yes. Right now, Lion is way too strong. Ubisoft stepped way too far here and ushered in an attacking operator that can literally see defenders through walls with a feed that allows the entire team to know where I am. This is too strong, please nerf him. And although I do agree with some of those feelings, Lion is a very strong operator and has definitely baked himself into the mainstream meta. To me, this poses a bigger problem with the gaming community as a whole as of recently. We as gamers are more directly connected with game developers than we ever have been in the past, and our input actually means a lot to them as they design and balance their games. The problem here though is when game developers listen too much and try to please every loud voice in the community. They lose direction and things begin to take a nosedive for the worse in most cases. Gamers have a real sense of entitlement, and although I do believe we should all speak our minds and we should all help develop some of these games, because at the end of the day we're the ones that put in the hours and we're the ones that do truly understand these games, and developers have been honest and said in the past many of times that they never really know what to expect once a patch or an update or something new hits the masses, because that's when people take it and morph it and make it their own. It's crazy to think that Rainbow Six Siege has been balanced and has had things happen just because the community has said so. Ubisoft has tested and tested internally about many things across the game, and most of the time when they release something, they're fully confident that it's in a good state, but it really truly isn't until the community gets their hands on it that they know exactly what direction to take certain things. It should also be noted that Lion has only been out for a few days as of this recording, and we're at the point where people are just now finishing their placement ranked matches and getting settled into the season. To me, this conversation feels a little bit rushed, and although I do agree that Lion is a little bit above average, I'm not going to be so quick to call for a nerf. Now, I want to take us back a few weeks when Ubisoft was officially unveiling Lion and Finka at the Invitationals. As they showed them off, they discussed one key thing that I feel a lot of people are failing to realize and also aren't very aware of. They talked about how Lion specifically is designed to keep the attackers pushing and moving in while keeping defenders pulling back. In all senses, Lion represents the true essence of Rainbow Six Siege. Attackers moving forward and pursuing, while defenders pulling back and bunkering down. I know there are a lot of new players both to the channel and to Siege, but for those of you who haven't been playing for a while, we just came off of the biggest trap meta this game has ever seen. Just a few months ago, everyone was so sure that the game was built for defenders and the attacking life was so difficult. Attackers had to drone, play slow, work together, and communicate, while defenders just laid a couple of traps, threw out a few mines, and spawn peeked to victory every single round. It got to the point where you'd sometimes have 4 different kinds of traps to think about on the attacking side, and it wasn't easy at all to actually get on the objective or get a plant off without setting off one of many traps laid out. For reference, let's quickly go over the defensive traps. You've got Frost Welcome Mats, Capcan EDD, Legion Goo, and Elemines to deal with, and that doesn't count Echo's Yokai Drone or Smoke's Bugies. Like I said, everyone felt the game favored defense and wanted a better solution and solid counter. Step into Operation Chimera and enter Lion. This is an attacker, again, built from the ground up to allow attackers to continue to push. If you think about it, most times when you're hit by a trap in the game, you do the exact opposite. You retreat. Goo ends up in your foot, you turn around, go back into a corner, and pull it out. If you get stunned by an Elemine, you usually back off, wait for the effects to subside, and then continue. To this day, it's still very difficult to even avoid an Elemine, much less not be stunned by one. None of those things change with a Lion on the team. All of those traps are still in working order, all of your barricades are still there, your entire defensive wall is still up. You just have to watch your step. Lion is also like Fuse in a lot of ways. Not every time Fuse sets off his cluster charge do you get a kill or even destroy enemy defenses. Sometimes you get absolutely nothing and the whole thing was a big waste of time, and you also made a ton of noise that lets almost every defender around know exactly where you are. With Lion, it is very similar. You may use all 3 scans and never get a ping. It may do nothing at all for your team. You may use a scan, get a ping, but nothing comes out of it, or you may get a ping, get baited, killed, and cause a round loss. You've also got to think that When the scan is actually going off, if the defenders are standing still, the attackers are the only ones making noise, and so it allows the defenders to actually get a leg up in some cases and find exactly where the attackers are coming from. There are a ton of gameplay elements at play here, and I feel as though people are seeing this too black and white to see them all through. However, we've yet to talk about Lion's loadout and his vector, because I think that's also a big point of this discussion. This is where Lion starts moving into that too strong department for me. His V308 is an absolute beast and has honestly become one of my favorite assault rifles in the game. With a damage of 44 and a fire rate of 850 rounds per minute, it hits like a truck and just smacks the enemy down. This weapon also has almost no recoil, making it really easy to handle. I don't think this will stay like this forever, and at least if it does, I'd be very, very surprised. This gun feels a lot like when Jackal's C7E was first released. It was easily the best assault rifle in the game at the time and was super easy to handle. Like a month later, Ubisoft nerfed it, giving it a little bit more recoil, but to this day, it's still definitely one of my favorite guns in the game. I think before Ubisoft looks at his gadget, they may adjust his main assault rifle, because that thing, at least to me, is an absolute monster. Now, his kit is a little underwhelming. Flashbangs are okay and the claymore works, but it's not like he has frags or smokes. That would send this operator into nerfed stratosphere. So really, all people have a problem with are his weapon and gadget at this point. Speaking of Lion's gadget, I don't know what Ubisoft can really do about nerfing it, given the fact it affects all operators on the attacking team. I thought a lot about exactly how to balance wall hacks in the game, and from what I can come up with, Ubisoft has done it. The scan only lasting 4 seconds makes it just long enough to be worth it. If they nerfed it and brought it down to say 2 seconds, it would be completely useless and serve very little purpose. The one thing I thought that may please some people is if they allowed defenders to still walk. They just couldn't sprint. However, I see this as too far gone from the fundamentals of what he's all about, which is keeping the defender still for a few seconds so the attacking team can push. You guys are really gonna have to help me with this one, because I'm not sure what they can really do with his gadget, and you've also got to keep in mind that this is a global ability and whatever they do affects everyone. So Zen, what's your stance? Is Lion too strong? Does he need a nerf? Where are you at? Well, for me, I stand by Ubisoft and their original design of having attackers pursue again. The trap meta, although fun, was relentless as an attacker some rounds, and it feels good to finally be able to move in and get a footing as an attacker. I think if anything, maybe make Lion himself a 1-speed, and given how big and heavy he looks, maybe that was the original plan, and maybe I'm the minority here, but it's possible the V308 should be looked at as well. As far as his gadget goes, knowing Ubisoft's vision and the effect that I've naturally been able to see in game, I say leave Lion alone right now. I've been seeing a lot more games end up in that 4-4 area or end up in those late minutes of the round because Lion and his team are able to push a lot more effectively with his ability active. I like being able to push again as an attacker. I also don't mind the slower gameplay he brings to defense. I know if he's on the other team that I'm going to be standing still at some moments, and sometimes I utilize that time to get a tight angle and take out some unexpected opponents. But that's going to bring us to the end of the video. Those are my thoughts on Lion and his impact on the meta. What are your thoughts? Is Lion too strong? Do you have your own ways of adjusting him? Do you agree with my perspective? Leave it all in a comment down below. If you did enjoy this video, please drop a like and subscribe with notifications if you're new. With that being said, it's been Zen.
Hey, I'm out.